Speakers on, mics on, okay. Okay then, so good evening, everyone. Today is Thursday, September 10th, excuse me, 2020. The time is 6 p.m. This is a public hearing, and, oh, I'm sorry. Is that better? Okay, I'm sorry. So this is a public hearing. Attending are Commissioners Duncan, Brooks, and Fillios. And before we go any further, I'm going to ask our audiovisual lady, Nancy, to please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So, okay then, before we go any further, I'm polling for potential conflicts of interest.
Nope.
Hearing none. Okay, so we do have a public hearing and an action item to be taken. I'll announce the case. It's case number MSP 19-0006. Bayshore Estates, a request by Jesse Getz Family Limited Partnership for preliminary approval of a two-phase major subdivision consisting of 57 residential lots on approximately 28.5 acres in the restricted residential zone with a conditional zoning development agreement, also referred to as a CZDA. The CZDA restricts development density to 2 residential dwelling units per acre. Now, before I go any further, we do have some late-breaking developments, so I'm going to call on Director David Callahan to please address us. Go right ahead, David.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, everyone. The late-breaking news is multifaceted. First, we heard from the applicant's consultants asking for you to postpone tonight's hearing until a date certain. We ordinarily honor that sort of thing, but there's a follow-up bit of information I need to tell you which compounds that issue, so stay with me a moment here. But just so you know, we looked into what was possible at this late date, and your next available hearing that works would be January 14th.
Okay.
So if you would sort of keep that in the back of your mind for a moment. The new information today is we received letters from both the Department of Environmental Quality and Green Ferry Water and Sewer District. You have copies of these. In both cases, both agencies are asking for things that we would frankly ordinarily get before the first public hearing of this thing, meaning before the hearing examiner heard it. And I don't want to go into the details of why, because that's irrelevant for you tonight, but it's in front of us and we need to deal with it. And it causes me grounds for concern that the sort of study that they're asking for, a nutrient pathogen analysis,
Right.
could be a significant influence in the way this project goes forward. In my view, it would be better if the hearing examiner could hear that new information, because it might very well change their position, depending on how the information comes out. Admittedly, it might not, but I tend to err on the side of caution when it comes to due process and preserving people's property rights on all sides, and so that's my viewpoint. You have your legal counsel here, and Pat can give you his opinion on that. The one other thing that just happens to sort of coincide that I think is useful here is if you were willing to remand this back to the hearing examiner, we have a hearing date that would work, November 19th. And that way, the hearing examiner could hear any new information we have by then and then forward it on to you, and no time would be lost. So my recommendation for tonight is that you not have a public hearing. You remand this to the hearing examiner, and for the reasons you've heard. The one other option you have, besides just directly postponing this, is you can hold the hearing tonight. We can continue, and that's your call. I don't recommend it, but you could.
Okay. Questions for Director Callahan?
No, I tend to agree with his analysis and his suggestion.
I do as well, but I'd like to hear from council. Would you care to opine?
Yeah, Director Callahan laid out the couple of the options you have. Of course, the third option would be to just hold the hearing tonight and then deliberate either at this meeting or at a different time. However, I have read the letters that came in late, and I do tend to agree with Director Callahan. I think remanding to the hearing examiner, given the nature of what is desired from DEQ and the Greens Ferry Water District, and that's a very serious issue, as you're well aware. I think that could very well be a game changer for the developer and for the public in terms of whether they support or oppose the development. And so I would agree that remanding it to the hearing examiner would be proper. I don't know if they'll be able to complete the study by the date suggested by Director Callahan. I would leave that to the applicant, but certainly if we can expedite that consistent with being able to complete a proper study, I think we should do that.
Bill?
I think we should do just that. I mean, exercising an abundance of caution, and this sounds fairly serious, depending on what the outcome of the study might be. It could really impact the residents and also the developer.
Okay. Pat?
Yeah, just
Go right ahead, please.
Yeah, there's, at least historically, there's been some dispute about whether this area is actually over the aquifer or not. I think it's immaterial because it's either over the aquifer itself or an aquifer recharge area.
Or recharge
So either
area.
way, water quality is a very serious issue, as I think all three of you have indicated.
Okay. So if we were to, excuse me, so then would we need a formal motion to remand it?
Yes.
Okay. Motion then.
I move that we remand case number MSP 19-0006 Bayshore Estates to the hearing examiner to a date November 19th with the board hearing on January 14th.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan,
Aye.
Chair Fillios,
Aye, and so case number MSP 19-0006 is hereby remanded to the hearing examiner for a hearing to be conducted on November 19th of 2020 and to allow the appellant to proceed with whatever studies are required.
Thank you.
Okay. Time then is, I've got 11:08, and this public hearing is adjourned. Thank you.
6:08.
6:08, 11:08. Sorry,
Long day.
long day.